You are live here with me now on the Donald Kent Art Show. Welcome back. Did a little show last night. Very chill. I mean, I wasn't even talking for half the time because it was just working, And I looked today and saw that there were like, it was 136 views or something on it. Like, so I must be doing something right. I mean, those aren't huge numbers, but I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. It's funny how this show ebbs and flows. There's times when I can remember getting like, I don't know, like 600 views or something, like somewhere in that neighborhood. And then in other cases they'll get like 20 views or something. Um, I don't know. It's funny how that goes. Funny how it goes. I was instructed to make this APAC agent a little more conservative looking. So I will give her a full head of hair. I had like the sides shaved, kind of a bit of a lesbo look to it. And I was told that's not what the writer wants. So I just switching it up. She has really, really curly, not curly, kind of curly, wavy-ish hair. And it's a little tricky to illustrate that. By nature, it's kind of messy. You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to kind of look that way, Levant hair, if you will. Maybe just trying to make it slightly more feminine looking. Well, what else is going on? I did share. I did share a invite link to Luke Mason, hoping that he can pop in. He tried to come on the show yesterday, and I don't know, it's very strange. We could see and hear him, but he didn't think that he was coming through. So there was some stupid tech BS. I really hate it when tech doesn't do what it's supposed to do. You know what I mean? When I did my Arval interview not long ago, on my end, my computer was overheating and it was getting choppy. But I would look at my phone to see like, well, how does it look, and it looked completely smooth, and if you watch the playback, you'll see it's totally fine. Anyway, there, I gave her some hair. She's less, oops, there goes the light. She's less ugly now. That whole like shave the side of your heads look or whatever that is like yucky. Adult coloring and hobbies. That's awesome. Well, wow, that's an interesting name for your channel. I assume you're an artist as well? You do artwork? Thanks for joining me. Is this the first time you've been to my show. I'm thinking, yes, I haven't seen that name before. Yeah, this is there's a bit of a zombie attack that goes on in this part of the story. They're kind of like vampire zombies, um, and going on an attack. This page is pretty gory. Like there's a little on the gory side here. The book itself is not gory. It's not a horror book, but anyway, this part of the story, the shit hits the fan. Stan. And then on to some other things. So there's something that the writer does that I don't do, which is he'll have two scenes on one page. To me, like that's kind of like, I don't know. It just goes against my instincts. Like you shouldn't cut a scene in the middle of a page. To me, that just is like not comics, basically. But whatever. It's his story, so he can do as he wishes. Anyway, let's read some comments. Just coloring lull. Actually, just started a channel to share my coloring and other hobbies. Neat. When you say coloring, do you mean sort of like adult coloring books? You know, with all the like complicated patterns and that kind of stuff? Because I know that's a kind of a. It's become pretty popular. I don't know if trend is the word I'm looking for, but yes, adult. Okay, cool. What kind do you like to do? Like just any kind? I mean, I understand it's like super relaxing. I think that's part of why it's so popular. Is that people have discovered like, wow, this is actually really chill. All kinds. Okay, that's cool. And how did you discover the Donald Kent Funtime Comics Art Hour? Like it probably just popped up in your feed, or were you searching for something specifically? I guess the question I'm leaning into is, are you familiar with my content? Sorry, I'm gonna have to zoom out a little bit so you can see. I just have to. I usually just go straight into inking, but I just discovered I kind of have a couple little things. I could kind of maybe just ink that part. Maybe I should just ink that part instead of drawing it because it's pretty simple. Save a little time. Mm. I was just scrolling and saw you live, and it got attention. And of course, I just subscribed. I love this, and you are truly talented. Well, golly gee, you know what? Since you are so kind and so cool to be here, I think I need to show you some other pages. It seems to me like it's probably your first time here, so maybe I'll kind of go through some other pages. Just give you a little show. I'll give you a little show. My art book is not like physically handy. I can't reach over and grab it, but I can show you more of the comics work here. Um, yes. Oh, okay. Cool. So there's a lot. I've been YouTubing since like 2017, 18, And I'm an art teacher. I do a lot of different kinds of art. It's just that comics are a kind of passion of mine. I feel like they are the poor man's filmmaking. If I just don't happen to have a couple $100 million lying around. So, I do comics. Splattercat, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for putting that link there. You just saved the day. Very smooth move right there. You can have 500 points for Splattercat. So just looking at some recent pages. This story probably looks a little weird. It is weird. What it is I don't know, like where you are, sort of like in political culture or any of that, but they are memes from just online political culture, and so the memes have been turned into superheroes and supervillains. Excuse me. I didn't write the story. I get paid to draw it. And so that's what I do. It's so funny. There's this scene of the Burning Man festival. I've got a friend who's like there right now and sending pictures back and stuff. But so whatever. That's just a tiny look. Hello to Circus Cult. Yo, sup, bro? I found you when I searched for Kai Moros hate speech. Cool art, by the way. I am close personal friends with Kai Moros. Wow. So how about them apples? If you have any questions, I'd be happy to talk about it. Well, and I'll just keep showing some artwork. Um, so he has a video slash essay speech called On Hate. And and hello also to Victorian Time Traveler. Donald, how did you like that dinosaur I posted? I loved it. I think you just got like 2,000 dad points right there. That's like some really cool dad stuff that you're doing. And I really, really admire that. I think that's neat. I would love to get a 3D printer. I know a guy that has one, and they're just wicked cool. There's just all kinds of neat stuff that you can do with it. But yeah, it was really fun. Anyway, getting back to Mr. Circus Cult, look around my channel. There's probably a search, maybe a search bar or something at the top of my YouTube, and you can just type in Kai Moros because I've done several videos on him and his ideas. It's been a while since I've spoken to him, but he's a dear friend, and yeah, so like I feel like he's really, really important in the movement, and his ideas need to be kept alive. Let's see. Circus says I used to be on Terrorgram a lot, and I think you're saying Telegram when it was big during the beginning of COVID. So I'm kind of versed. I followed a lot of podcasts. Oh, I never heard of Terrorgram. I don't know. Hamfari is here. Excellent, dude. I was gonna send you an invite link to this show, but I was like, it's probably super late in the morning over there, and he'll never see the link. He's like, oh shit. And then I'm like, ah, damn it. Um, I might, if I step away from the screen, what happens a lot of the time is that the show will like choke up, and then I'm fucked, and I have to. It's 1:30 a.m. Uh, are you like a late night dude? Are you like when do you usually go to bed? Because I would love to have had you on. In the future, I think I'll just throw you the link, and if you're available, you can pop on. If not, then next time. Okay. Circus says Telegram is the extreme right side of Telegram. A lot of it got shut down. No, no, I can imagine. Right, I can imagine. Um, anyway, um, Yeah, comics, lots of comics. Well, with a name like Terragram, I mean, it could have, he could maybe have come up with a you know, rainbows and roses and lollipops and baby lambs and bunnies. Like that would have been a better name for it. Anyway, let's move on. We got Time Traveler says a CNC machine. I could literally make anything using their equipment. I would definitely recommend checking your library and local colleges before buying your own. So, is there, I hear that there's some kind of service where you can, I don't know, like you can upload your files and they'll print something for you. Does that exist? I think. Um, I think it does. Anyway, I really like this shot right here. I think this is pretty cool. This, like right here, I think that's pretty nice. Um, I don't really have anything that I would print at the moment, but maybe I don't know. Like I'd like to print some of these characters. I think that'd be pretty neat if I had like a 3D version of these characters. You know how like you go to comic book shops and they'll have really awesome sculptures and of like superheroes and stuff. Like I love that stuff. It's very expensive though. Like, I don't have like $100 to drop, you know, on a Marvel Comics statue. Um, let's see what is happening in the chat. Certain pages. This is cringe as fuck, but are you based? Oh, I'm fucking dude, you don't I guess you don't know who I am. I am very based, my man. I am very based. You are in the based zone. We're dude, if you only knew. So like here's what I recommend. Subscribe to the channel, and when you get time, come back and look around and check out all the videos that I have, and you will see that I am. I don't think I'm like a big time influencer in the white identity movement, but I've interviewed most of them, and they know me and respect what I do. I just did an interview with Arval from Return to the Land, and I expect you to know who that is. I got like over 1,000 views in like a couple days from that. Pretty serious material. Um, anyway, moving on. Hamfari says, work days I'm in bed before 22 o'clock. I'll wake up at 6. In America, we don't use 22 o'clock, so I don't really know what that is. I'd have to like, count on my fingers. 6 in the morning, go to the gym, work out, da da da. Okay, circus called. How long have you been drawing? All my life, pretty much. Yeah, but I did go to school for art. 10. Thank you. Yeah, I heard of Arval because of Apollonian Germ. So Arval has this idea that he would like to have an art institute with Return of the Land, and I'm pretty much the go-to guy when it's concerning the arts in our movement. So, hence, he came on my show, and you can go check that out when you got time. So, yeah, you're in very good company. Very good company, my man. I think it's time to get inking here, guys. I feel like we have the time for talk is over. It's time for action. Nice. All right, let's kick some ass. You ready for some ass kickery? Let's do it. So this page is fun, and I'll tell you why. Because, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'll get back to the chat in a second. There's this kind of vampire zombie scene where they attack Washington, D.C., and I suggested to the writer that we have like someone from APAC and they attack her. And then there's this other organization called, well, it's not I don't know. It's the Christian something something something, and they're basically like Christian Zionists who are traitors to the country and to our people, and they work very closely with APAC. Um, so it's a type of, it's just here this is going to get pretty gory, but I think that it's like kind of a moment that we can all celebrate. The writer asked me to put like Ukrainian flag pins on their shirts and stuff like that. That's a whole other topic, but zoom out, zoom in, get some work done here. That's page is not finished yet. Wow, we got a really cool gang of people here. Gang of thieves. Some based brothers. Nice. I'll try to get back into the chat a little bit here. Marvel. I know he's doing their settlement project. I'm sub, but haven't watched yet. So, I think it's fair to say that Arval is essentially starting he's laying the foundation for a white ethno state in America, and it sort of his Patreon just got shut down. Like he got no what do you call it? Like no warning, no reason. They didn't even tell him why they did it. They just shut it down, and that was his main source of income. So the who's are doing what they usually do. There is no legal precedent to go after return of the land, and that's glorious. That's a beautiful thing. So the scumbags go after his character. They try to attack his character. Speaking of attacking character, I'm really, really, really disappointed with Brendan O'Connell recently and his attack on Nick Fuentes. I thought that was very lame, very, very lame. I think he's just jealous, to be honest. I went and posted a comment on his video. In general, I have a lot of respect for him and his content, but there's sometimes I'm like, it sounds a little, every once in a while I'll be like, it seems a little. He definitely hates white nationalists. I think he has that kind of Christian protect the Jews type mentality, even though he's done profound work on exposing Jewish global hegemony and corruption, but yet doesn't like the, he just has his own, I don't know, sort of like philosophy, I guess, if you will, about like that. Like he won't, I don't know what to say. I can't speak for him, so I won't. But I think going after Fuentes was one of these like ways to protect himself, because he knows who rules the world. And a guy who does the kind of dangerous work that he does, um, fill in the blanks. Okay. But it still was pathetic. It's just like, I spoke about it a little bit on my show last night. I'm not going to really do another deep dive. Not like I did a deep dive, but I just not in the mood, pretty much. Especially when there's all these cool people here to sort of chat with. I know he's doing settlement project. Victorian says, what I'm saying is the college basically has my dream workshop, and I use it for a small fee. Good. Definitely see if there's something like that in your area. I'll look it up. I appreciate the advice. Hamfari says, when I am free from work, like weekends, I am the night crawler, the night owl. Okay. Circus says, did you ever listen to Surviving America with Patrick Siegman? Great interviews. That sounds cool. I'd like you to tell me more about that. Wait, it was Why America, not America. Okay. All right. I'll have to look it up, man. I appreciate the advice. Circus says, not familiar with Brendan, but know about Nick. Don't go out of my way to listen to him. So here's my update on that. For most of the time that I've known of Nick Fuentes, I don't know him personally. I've always had that kind of like he's young and snotty and annoying, kind of, like I'm not into that kind of like 18-year-old high school locker room dirty humor, South Park kind of culture. It's just not. I'm an older dude, and it's not me. Now, I would give him credit where credit's due, and I never like counter signaled him or anything. I was just never kind of on board. I did recognize, like, wow, this guy has major influence. I can see that. He's kind of the hero of his generation, and to some extent, at least to his followers. And he's got pretty much an army of groypers that do pretty serious media work and shitlording work, and there's something there. He's really got like he's got something going on. And then he got deplatformed, debanked. And then there was like this Jewish woman that came to his home and doxed him. And then shortly after that, a gunman came to his home. The guy went to the wrong address, shot and killed the neighbor, and then went to Fuentes' address and, is knocking on the door, and he's got like a knife and a gun. And it's just your basic Antifa bullshit kind of guy. Fuentes calls the cops. They catch the guy, etc. But like they made an attempt on his life, you see, and I think he grew up in a hurry when that happened. I mean, years have passed, and he's been through a lot of shit. He's given more to the movement than probably maybe anybody in certain regards. Unfortunately, and I couldn't say whether he knew this or not, but he has kept company with some people in the past that turned out to be shit, like this Ali something or other guy. I can't remember his name. Is this like on like January 6th when Fuentes and Alex Jones were at the Capitol and the whole thing was going down. Nobody knew at the time, like, this is just like, it's January 6th. We didn't know it was going to turn into the debacle that it was. It was just like, we're here to cover the news. And out of fucking nowhere, this brown weirdo Indian guy is like hanging out with Alex Jones and acting like he's just part of the group. And you could tell Alex Jones was sort of like, this is kind of awkward. Like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? Anyway, I'm not going to go down that road too far. Just you can look it up. I think if you're in my channel, you probably have at least come across that type of info. Like another thing, like I never was a Kanye fan. I always thought Kanye was just sort of a narcissistic weirdo, kind of, Although I got ever since like he went full JQ, I was like, okay, I respect this guy. There's a lot more to this guy than I gave him, and I'll give him a listen and check him out. The interview they did with somebody's gonna have to help me out. The Scottish guy that does the funny political hot takes. He started the Proud Boys. Fuck is his name? Oh damn it, it's slipping my mind right now. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have Kanye on the show, and I'm gonna straighten him out," and it turned out, and Kanye and Fuentes were both on the show, and they schooled him, like they owned him bad, and then that was the thing. That was like, so there was all these little incremental steps. Um, there's just been so many things happening in the movement. Like Trump shows himself to be a total fraud. He's Israel's goy, And then there's this huge MAGA split. What's her name? Candace Owens gets fired for questioning the Jews. And so she goes off to start her own little JQ rabbit hole, and which pretty much ends with her interviewing Nick Fuentes. And then suddenly she realizes, ooh, I stepped on, I crossed the barrier here a little too much. And so she goes running to Tucker Carlson, who is being a complete bitch about the whole thing. And it's like, damn, dude, like have some decorum, have some self-respect, like when you just go after somebody's character and refuse to debate them, it's very, very obvious, that you're full of shit. And then Fuentes is like, oh, you want to play that game? Okay. So then he comes around and he exposes that Tucker Carlson's dad was in the CIA, and it's just the thing has been snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. And so uh wow, and so here we are. And now the only really legitimate or important, relevant sort of part of the political spectrum is the pipeline between Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes right now, because that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where the mainstream right wing Republican conservative movement has to own up to the fact that the Jews run our country and they run our world, and they have an agenda, a white genocide agenda, and many, many, many other problems. So this is it, like if, and then of course Charlie Kirk is like, oh, I won't even mention his name, and there, if people like Charlie Kirk and Tucker are afraid to uh, to debate Fuentes, then Fuentes wins by default. You see it, and like, what's his name? Charlie Kirk's like, I don't give a platform to bad faith actors. Go brush your teeth, you freaking weirdo. It's like he gets massive money from Israel for the shit that he does. Just keep the controlled opposition machine working and protect us at all costs. And here's your money. It's disgusting. So this is the shit that's going down. And it's like, even though I talk frequently about it, like I wouldn't kind of put myself in like the Groyper camp or whatever. I gotta say, I do blast Nigga Heil Hitler from my car a lot, just to, for fun. That's kind of a fun thing to do, in like crowded places and stuff. Um, that's a whole other thing. Anyway, so there you go. That's the update. That's where we're at. A month from now, a year from now, what's his name? Fuentes was on Sam Hyde's show, and Hyde is like, okay, so what's going to happen? Like, what's going on? And Fuentes is like, they're going to kill us all, you know. And Sam Hyde's like, but we've got Palantir, we got drones, we got anti-Semitic laws, anti-free speech laws. It's not like this, not like this is Bolshevism 2.0. Like, it's everything that we've ever said is coming to pass. But the weird thing is that the worse it gets, the better it gets in some way. All of these things, I don't know. I feel like the horse is out of the barn. I mean, granted, there's just so much of society of people that just like are checked out. They're intellectually stunted. They're cowards. They can't handle reality. They don't want to be troubled. They don't care about freedom and they just want watch football and eat McDonald's or some shit. But So I don't know. That's why I think like Arval is the other most important guy in politics right now. Um, he's right. Like America's fucked. Like we're breaking apart, and if you're not going to do something to rebuild in any way that we can while we can, then you're not preparing for the future. And so this is what's going on. Nigel Farage was saying like I don't think people are 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 like really facing the reality that like shit's gonna hit the fan any second now in England. In Ireland, they're already violently revolting against the migrant replacement agenda, and the Irish are like leading the way. They're fucking leading the way in terms of like violent revolt. And so, I'm not, nobody wants violence, least of all me, but I'm just sort of saying that, like, you put someone's back up against the wall long enough, and what the fuck do you expect them to do? Of course, they're going to get violent. So, this is what's happening. It's wild. It's a wild time. It's a really, really wild time. Um, Interesting time to be alive, boys. Oh yeah. I guess I got a lot of chat to read, so let's see if I can read. Not from Brennan. This is Nick. This is familiar with this. Adult coloring says I'm most definitely going to go check out your channel. Nice to meet you. I love what I see. Would love to color some. Oh, cool. Okay. So Bart was really big in the scene. Pat was big in the scene. Which Pat are we talking about? But he was left due to a lot of drama. Very well read guy. I think I know who you're talking about. I forget his last name though. He has a very Groiper kind of look, always suit and tie kind of thing. Oh, what's his last name? Wanted to expand parapolitics. Ooh, that's a cool term. I wonder what that is. Meant by different aliases, backgrounds, exposed. Gavin McInnes, thank you. Robert Pyle, 100 points. Robert Pyle, thank you. Gavin McInnes, I thought he was responsible for that. I could be totally wrong. Didn't realize he was Scottish. Well, he's Scottish American. He's not from Scotland. I'm Scottish, and I don't think he would. Well, I'm Scottish too, but that's another topic. Whatever you do, don't make a Scotsman angry. That'll be the last of your days. All right, sorry, I had to slip out a little Scottish accent for fun. Right, makes sense. I've been avoiding watching the news or reading what's been going on locally, but there have been 2 protests near me. Are you? Oh, you're in Scotland. Like you're real. You're the real. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. I thought you were from America. That's funny. Well, how was my Scottish accent then? And do I what score do you give me on that? Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Nah, Pat, aka Patrick Siegman. Oh, okay. 3 stacks. Face this whole time I was in the scene. Um, you know, yeah, being anonymous is kind of a thing. It's just a part of this unfortunate reality. But yeah. Was okay. 7 out of 10. Okay. I know it's not perfect. I know it needs work. So I could do an English accent real easy. Like it's just that in America we get a lot of English movies, right? So we know how it goes all the time. People talking like that, and right, it's lovely, isn't it? So that's easy to do, but of course there's different English accents, I guess, from different locations. Um, How did you find out about all the BS? Like wake up. How did who find out about BS, and what BS are we talking about? Sorry, you kind of lost me a little bit. You, the JQ, LOL. Um, how did I find out about the JQ? That's an interesting question. If that's what you're asking, um, it's a pipeline. It's definitely I mean, it's the alt right pipeline, if you will. Um, I don't know if that's the question you're asking, but I'll just answer it anyway. Um, Gosh, wow. Okay, so many years ago, I was facing divorce, and I was I started looking into men's rights and like how can I get custody of my child because I had a very abusive marriage. I know it's a loaded question. Don't worry about it. I don't mind. I don't mind talking about my life and these things, but um, and so at the time, I really, when you're an artist musician, you're just sort of liberal by default in a sense. Even though I grew up in a very conservative Catholic family, and I never really embraced like any of the radical liberal policies or whatever. I've always been extremely anti-LGBT and other things of that nature, anti-feminist, etc. So whatever, I started researching men's rights. I came across a site called Illimitable Man or Illimitable Male. Rollo Tomasi is a very well-known vlogger, influencer on men's interests and men's rights, things of this nature. And it was just a heaven sent. It was a kind of an amazing, like, wow, I can't believe I found this website. And it had an article in their page called the Red Pill Constitution. And so that basically changed my life. That was the beginning of my enlightenment. Um, and I, read it over and over and over, and I sent it to all kinds of people. And the term red pill, of course, I understood the idea of the red pill from the movie The Matrix, but I noticed that it had been sort of used a lot just in like, you know, political popular culture and, sort of representing like escaping kind of a information matrix, something. And then I was watching Fox News one day, and they had this interesting guy on by the name of Richard Spencer, and he was talking about white identity and you know standing up for white self-interests. And I'm like, I like this guy. I like this guy. This is, yeah, yeah, what, yeah, I was like, this makes, I'm all at share, I was like, yeah, I'm into this, yeah, for sure. And then I think I just like Googled him, and then one thing and another thing and then the next thing. And um this was at the time when the you had the Trump versus Hillary election, 2017 election. And I remember my friend, I mean, all of America was just kind of like, holy shit, what's going to happen? um I knew for sure, like, if Hillary wins, we're dead fucked, like we're completely screwed. And there was the, what do you call those Julian Assange, and is it WikiLeaks? And I actually went and looked at her emails, and I knew that she was responsible for killing people and all kinds of corruption. And like, I'll be damned if I'm gonna have Hillary Clinton as president. And so the only other option, of course, was Donald Trump. But then he put on a good show, and then the whole Patriots. I'm telling you like the long version of how I came to the JQ, but I'll try to shorten it up. So Then I discovered Amran. I used to teach martial arts to the local Proud Boys. They disbanded after Biden stole the election, and that all disappeared. Everybody went to the Four Winds. But I was getting really into politics, and I don't think I knew about the JQ though. I just was like pro-white and pro uh, America. America first. And then, gosh, I guess I can't really entirely say where or when or how I actually did come across the JQ, but it was just inevitable. If you're in that sphere of influence, you're going to eventually see people that talk about it. And then, the whole, like, I watched, what's it called? Europa Last Battle. Many, 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 many things like that. I found out Goyim TV, goyimtv.tv, and that blew my mind. That just opened my world up a lot. I would say that maybe to some extent in the beginning, I think I was still like, I don't know how to explain it, but like when you first come to these things, you realize that you're looking at something very dangerous, and to some extent, there's a thrill in that. But then to another extent, you you're overcome with a sort of a sense of fear of like, holy shit, I've just figured out that Hitler was right, and that the Jews created World War II, and they run the world, and this, that, and the other thing, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you realize, how can I ever talk about this? How can I ever express this? Like, if my family knew, or if my friends knew, or you understand what I'm trying to say. And then you realize that now you're a dissident. Now you live in secret, because this forbidden truth. And there's just like, like, it's just not, people aren't gonna, they're just too brainwashed. They're not gonna open their minds. They're not gonna figure it out, whatever. So, but hence, whatever, I think you'd, uh, I don't know. I mean, that's a deep topic, so I don't want to go totally insane about it and just go off the rails talking about that stuff. But and then now, we're in a place where the JQ is becoming mainstream, and you've got Jake Shields and Stu Peters, and even Candace Owens did her whole, JQ spat, and even Alex Jones is finally coming around. Alex Jones, ladies and gentlemen, and that's largely due to Nick Fuentes. It's really, thank God he figured out, like, in order to be on top of things and relevant, you gotta get with the JQ. So I'm glad that he escaped like the boomer farm, the boomer plantation. You know what I'm saying? Um, let's read some comments. We got a lot of comments going down here. I'm familiar with Rolo. Not listened to him in ages though. The whole Pizzagate shit as well, dude. That fucking shit is so. It's so like, this is one of the. Oh man, dude, I just like human trafficking, pedophilia, and the Jews. I mean, damn, man, that's fucking, this shit drives you really, really nuts because it's so profoundly, profoundly evil. And I've done the hard research on this stuff. I've seen interviews with children who were part of these, like, sort of blood sucking cults, part of that whole thing. I know what they do. and I know the truth, and it's too hard to look at. It's like it's just too painful to look at the truth of what they do. Um, I don't know. It's just I don't want to turn the show into like a big dark thing. I just not. I don't want to go down that road right now. It's too painful. Um, but we need people to get angry. We need people to see the crimes against humanity, and to rebel against it. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's vital. It's vital. Yeah. Let's see. 2016. Those were insane times, indeed. Yeah, Goyim TV, Handsome Truth. Right. Yeah, it's really big stuff. If you know, for sure. If you know, you know. I did watch that Stu Peters film, Occupied, but didn't really tell me much new. You know, I look at that like I don't. It's like everybody's on a different part of the spectrum of coming to the truth. Do you know what I'm saying? And like not everybody's there yet. They're still on the journey, so to speak. So I don't poo poo those people. I just feel like they're gonna get there eventually. I can remember watching what's his name, Luke Lucas Gage, yeah, Lucas Gage, and he's like nuts, like he's out there, super hot tempered Italian guy, military guy, and he's going nuts about the Jews, and then he has this like little project about, well, I want to find the good ones, like if you're Jewish and you're anti-Zionist and you're anti-globalist and all this other stuff, then contact me and let's talk and blah 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 blah. Blah. And in my head, I'm thinking, he doesn't know yet. Like he hasn't figured out. Like he's not gonna find. They do exist, but he's gonna be very disappointed. He's gonna be very, kind of crushed. It's gonna change him. He's gonna realize like it's not as it should be. Um, and you can stop and give respect to like brother Nathaniel, or there's like some Jewish comedians out there that expose all this stuff, and that's great. That's a good thing. um but yeah, people are on their own spectrums about the truth, and they can only kind of come to it when they can come to it, because some of this stuff is really like you're basically really realizing that everything you grew up believing was a lie, and then you have to wonder, well, how much more of it is a lie? And most people can't handle that. They just can't handle the cognitive dissonance of facing the fact that like pretty much everything they believe is wrong, and you base your identity on these things. You get the idea that people don't want to change. um it's not easy. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of like a high IQ. People in our movement are really high Q, and that's another reason why we don't like we infight a lot, because it's just everybody's got the answer and whatever. But I think we also infight a lot because we exist in a really highly toxic internet culture where we're looking at daily reports of rapes and murders from people of color, and the governments of the Western civilization being taken over by Muslims, and it's just it's a nonstop downward spiral of shit, of hell, and we see it. We know what it is. We know how to fix it, and we're in the media ghetto. We're ghettoized. We're demonized. You know, um, And some people embrace that and they're like, yeah, fuck it, I'm a Nazi, fuck you, you know. And other people are like, no, 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 don't say that. It's, you know, normies don't understand. We have to change the language and blah 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 blah. You know, all kinds of little fucking hoops we got to jump through just to speak the truth. You know, it's nuts. It's nuts. You know, but you know, truth is the truth, and we're not going to live a lie. That's the whole thing of it. Is just, you know, we're not going to live a lie. You know, and that's it. There's no compromise on that. You know. Yeah, shit's fucked up. Anyway, read some chat. I did watch. You read that. Victorian says Jones was never on the boomer farm. I remember when he criticized Israel. Good, good, good. Okay. Thank you for saying that. The whole thing makes everyone piss boil paying taxes to PDFs. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, dude. None of us, of course, can be sure we know the full truth ever. That's you know, I get that. I mean, but that doesn't stop you from knowing a lot of the truth, you know. Anyway, Circus says it's funny. I was a huge stoner for like a decade, and I loved watching conspiracy stuff. And I kept digging, and eventually went on BitChute. BitChute kicks ass, true, and boom, Europa, and everything. Can't unsee any of this stuff exactly. Yeah, BitChute is a big deal. You gotta hand it to like platforms like that. If BitChute and Goyim TV never existed, where would we be? You know what I'm saying? Like they were instrumental in educating us about many, many things, you know, and weird stuff, you know, like Nazi UFOs and Antarctica and Agartha and Vril and so many wonderful, cool things that the rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. It's amazing. That's the stuff I'm interested in, actually. Um, Koro Show is here. Politics aside, wow, amazing inking skills. Not the pen I would have used, nonetheless. Amazing work. Keep going till you make it big. God bless you, man. That is a really, really kind thing to say. I'm gonna. I like to try to show some artwork whenever I get a new person here. I'll do like a little show. Just take a tiny break and kind of like look through some artwork. Where are you from, Koro Show? That is a very. Is that your real name or is that an ethnic name of some kind? Anyway, here is some other art. Circus says the term Nazi was coined by a Jew, of course. Yeah, it's just short for nationalist. You know, you know, like it's so Bolshevik to be like to take the word nationalist and turn it into a dirty word. It's just like fuck you, you know. But man, did like people are so fucking brainwashed. Like they just completely buy into the leftist propaganda. Like they're screwed. Especially women. Women are like highly susceptible to propaganda and all of that shit. You know, feminism. Um, it's not good. It's real. They've done more damage. Liberal white women are the managerial class of the death of Western civilization. Circus says BitChute is banned in the UK, but we get it. But we get Goyim TV. Okay. Also, Robert Seffer is great. Atlantean Gardens. I'm a fan of Robert Seffer. Circus Cold says, great anthropologist and researcher who covers the alternate side of history. I've known him. I know his work well. Victorian says, I thought I overstated that thing about Alex Jones. He criticized Israel one time and then likely got a phone call from Mossad. Yes, yes. Thanks again, Splattercat, for putting my links down there. You guys can buy my art book at my link. I'd really appreciate that. You know, help support me, etc. I haven't eaten for a year. No, I'm kidding. um, but it's nice. It's nice when people buy your book. Isn't that nice? It's very nice. Anyway, moving on. Crazy times. Crazy times. Yes, sirree, Bob. Um, and I've got a special place in my heart for Alex Jones. I mean, he's crazy Uncle Alex. Crazy Uncle Alex. He he's like he's like a shock jock. You know what I mean? For the right wing or the conservatives or what have you. Um, but yeah, at some point I was like, oh fuck Alex Jones. Like I got really pissed off when I saw that he was shilling for Israel, and I'm like, how could you? That's the biggest L of all times. Like, well, now Trump is the biggest L of all times, but I'm like, you've come this far in your work, and finally, when it's time to like pull the curtain back and expose the true villain, you cocked out. What? Like how could you do that? But he came around, thanks to Fuentes. So there you go. And now are you ever worries about the stuff you talk about on the channel and being taken down? Yeah. Whenever I hear the sound of a drone, I get like it's coming to kill me basically. No, I'm being a little facetious, but yeah, I my thinking is that I won't be taken down because the intelligence, the Fed that watches me, that's assigned to me, he keeps the channel up so that they can watch for like wackadoos that come and follow me and see if they can honeypot them or something like that. No, I don't know. That's just a theory. I don't know. I've had videos taken down, for whatever. Like I have like 2 strikes or something. It's a hate speech, some shit, whatever. Um, but yet I just keep going. I must be. I'm either protected by spirits or feds, who want to keep my channel up. The hell is that? That's strange. I can't really make sense of that. I really don't know. I don't know why I'm still up here, and why I'm able to keep doing what I'm doing. I do think that the Fed thing is actually a logical possible reason why. They don't just shut people down; they just watch, and take notes, and they research people, and they keep files, and da, 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 da. That's how they make their money. It's like you don't want to shut someone down, then you don't get paid, right? You know. Um, I'm like, I'm small potatoes. I'm not Nick Fuentes. I'm a guy that does art. So like we have really really based conversations, like very very based conversations, and I've tried to tone it down and rein it in and pull it back, but I just can't seem to. I just can't seem to. I'm always like, the juice boxes or the small hats or the big noses, and I'm like, whatever. But sadly, one day this channel will get shut down, and then I'll be like, ah, fuck. And then I'll have to figure something out. Anyway, what do you share on Substack? No, Substack is way more radical. For me, anyway, it's more. So, like there was a while there where like Twitter was pretty radical. You could say and anything and almost. I mean, I don't promote violence, but I think you know what I mean. Like my Substack is pretty hardcore, but because that's the audience that it's for. You see what I'm saying? YouTube or YouTube, as I like to call it. Anybody can come. We get a lot of people from like India and different places that just like comics and want to watch, or just, whatever. Um, so I don't know. Whereas, what do you call it? Substack is us. It's our guys. You know what I'm saying? So I can go full retard over there. Um, and I apologize. Like I can't say the R word, but I can say the J word. I hope I didn't offend anybody saying the R word there. I didn't mean to. Um, anyway, let's read some chats here. Getting okay. Taken down. Victorian says I'm working on another project while listening. Oh, cool. Very nice. Circus says we're all on the list, boys. Absolutely, no doubt about it. And much, much more so now with Palantir. I assume you guys know about Palantir. Um, it's the fuckery. I mean, it's full on fuckery. It's like full not good. It's the end, kind of, as I was sort of what I would say. Um, the beginning of the end. Let's put it that way. Robert says, I hate it when I'm listening to a streamer and they play that sound drop of loud knocking and a man yelling, open up, makes my heart stop every time. Where did you hear that? Are you joking? Circus Cult says, what do you share on Substack? I can talk more about that in a second. This is just watercolor shit, to be honest. Water cooler shit, sorry. Everybody is having these convos. A lot of my friends and family know about this stuff. You're 100% right. That's a really good way to put it. And that's, to me, that's our goal, is to mainstream these topics. Everybody, children should know about the JQ. That should be taught in schools. This is our history. This is the real history of who we are. Is that you know we've been lied to. We've been psyoped. We've had our identity stolen from us. We're hated. We're marked for extinction. There's a lot of very, very heavy, serious shit things going down, and it's no joke. And yeah, so that's what it is. Very serious stuff. I'm gonna need a smaller marker pen for those things. This is just what I read that I've heard about Palantir scary stuff. Yeah. Um, you guys know the Chud meme? You ever see the Chud meme? These characters are Chuds. These guys. If you were to like Google Chud meme, you'd see that face. Only in this story, they're vampires. Okay, Robert says a few streamers use that sound drop. It's really loud and it makes you jump. Well, I won't be doing that. Circus says this is gonna sound cringe, but the whole flat Earth Agartha mud flood stuff and timeline manipulation has given me hope. To be honest, like there is a lot more to this world, and it's like this divine thing. I could do some crazy deep dives on that. I'm all about that stuff. I'm not a flat earther. I don't see enough evidence yet. However, there's a lot of other things that are no, I can talk about. I don't know how else to describe. Um, the hollow Earth is definitely real. The moon itself is hollow. Um, I'm really really deep into UFO studies. Anybody who watches my channel knows that I've been studying UFOs for 20 years. I'm not kidding, by the way. I can recommend good channels to go to learn more about that. And very definitely, there is some, deeply spiritual dimensions to everything that we're going through. So hang on there, hang on. It's time for, I think, is I would say that it's time for our people to kind of start focusing a bit more on our spiritual health. um yeah, there's the shit lording and this and that, and we're part of all that stuff, but um we need to take better care of ourselves as a people, as a movement. um and so this is something that I'm embarking on in my own personal life, and I will be like vlogging about that and talking about that on my shows as that develops more. Um, um, I think that's all I'll say about that for now. But yeah. So on the UFO topic, you probably heard of the so-called mothership that's coming to Earth. Um, what's his name? Werner von Braun, the famous Nazi rocket scientist from you know is it Project Paperclip or Blue Beam? Can't remember which one. Anyway, he on his deathbed he basically warned of a fake alien invasion. That's like a big um, a big thing. And so, right now Trump is surrounding the Capitol building, etc. In uh, you know, is it? I don't know if it's the military or whatever. Anyway, it's mostly military, and you know, people in the UFO field have been saying that we're going to have full disclosure, full contact by 2027. But now it's looking like it's going to be in like 2 weeks or something like this. And our governments already have alien technology, so they could land UFOs and pretend that they're from another planet, and the majority of people would believe it because they don't do their fucking research like I do. Um, so I'm very not cautious. Like I'm bracing myself for a major psyop, basically. Um, what happens, how it happens, all that stuff I can't really say for sure. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting, though. I'll tell you that. I think when it really does happen, a lot of people are going to come to me and be like, Donald Kent, explain to me what's going on. Because, like, I'm that weird guy that likes to talk about that. And everyone's like, well, it's kind of, it's not my thing, or it's a little weird. It's uncomfortable. And then when, like, it's being shoved in your face, then you'd be like, oh shit, I need answers now. So I'm expecting a lot of people to be coming to me when that happens, which is fine. Um, anyway, Project Bluebeam is the fake alien invasion. Thank you for that connection. Project Paperclip was bringing the Nazi scientists over into the American military secret projects. Let's read some chatteroonies. Wow, you guys are talking quite a lot over here. I gotta catch up. It's gonna sound. I read that. Chud vampires, good. I'm glad you like the humor. If you get what I mean, I follow Richard Dolan. Man, that name rings a bell, but I'm blanking out. Richard Dolan. I'll have to look him up. Maybe you can give me tell me who Richard Dolan is so I can get back in touch. Victorian says I will fight anyone over the flat shit. The flat Earth shit. Really? All right. Have at it, brother. Have at it. Circus cult. The whole what is beyond the ice wall in Antarctica has been lumped in with flat Earth. I just think the shape of the Earth is questionable, and that there's more land or something. The Admiral Byrd stuff. He see a mammoth or something and went on about land bigger. So there in I don't have enough sort of proof or data, so to speak, to say that that's true or to believe it. I'm aware of it. I definitely know that. I know about Admiral Byrd. I know about the Nazi UFOs. I do think that there's a lot in Antarctica, a lot more than what most people are aware of, and whether or not that's being conflated with what's past the ice wall, that could be another angle of this whole thing, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Um, it's you have to always expect counter intelligence, that there's going to be people planting ideas out there that um, this, that, and the other thing because they don't want you to know what's really going on. Um, so you just have to, you know, bake that into the situation, like it could be fake. Um, we'll see. We'll see when time will tell. Apparently, um, the Admiral Byrd stuff is really, really important, and people need to be looking at that. You know, Marie Orsich, Aldebaran, the Nazi UFO thing is really, really, really huge. It's an important angle on all of this stuff. There's I don't know. I mean, there's a lot one can theorize about. And I think that's fine. You know, you can be like, okay, this data points to this. You know, this could be true. Um, we're still kind of waiting. You know, I think there's people that have enough data on X to believe in Y or whatever, and that's fine or something. But I don't know. We'll just keep looking, basically. Project Bluebeam is that I read that. Who is the dude with the hands around the head of the person screaming? So this is another Chud character. It's another Chud vampire. Let's see if I can back up a bit and show you some older pages with these Chuds in them. Hold on a second. There's freaking hundreds of pages around me right now. Oh, this might be kind of fun. Check out this dude. You know who that guy is? Anyway, hold on. So, okay. This is the thing. Okay, so I don't know. I'll just kind of show you this. Look at the NPC. That's an NPC, and this is like in the early days. And then he discovered 8chan, or like 4chan, 8chan, and then that kind of radicalized him. And here you've got Clown World, you got Chud, you got Demoncrat, and I forget the name of this meme. It's some kind of a Chad meme or something. I forget the name. And so he goes on to kind of like there's a time where like the average young male is like kind of caught up in the whole e-girl, web girl, what's that, where they take their clothes off and they pay money, uh OnlyFans girls, Belle Daphne, that whole. So this woman is like a web girl. So the web being like a like a spider web, and so she's gonna feed on the NPC, but Hate Chan comes and kills her and saves the NPC, who then turns into like a Sigma wolf, and then he gets radicalized. so so it's kind of the story of like the alt right. Basically, it's kind of like a spoof on the alt right. You've got the Groypers. You remember Grug? Do you remember Grug? There was a whole Grug thing that happened there for a while, and so our Chud guy is breaking out of the webs that are causing him to whatever, blah blah blah. So until you read the story, then you'll know. I can't, like, it's just too much information. Welcome to T-Rad Dad. Great to have you here. It's great to have you back. Koro Show, love your channel. Thank you so much. Not loving the chat. We came here for art. Well, yeah. Richard Dolan is a ufologist. Oh, okay. Oh no, he's is he? He's kind of nerdy. Is that the one? Is he English? I think he's English, right? Pretty sure I know who you're talking about. Anyway, let's get back to some artwork here. This is definitely a chatty show. I mean, I'm doing a lot of talking. Some shows is just music, like little jazz in the background. But I got some really, really interesting chads in the chat. So that's hence the conversation. It's good to have my people here, though. But there's something hypnotic about watching somebody draw, though. I find there's just something kind of enjoyable, very peaceful about that. Probably not when you're talking about Hitler, though. I don't know. It'll be okay. Don't worry. It's gonna be okay. I don't know if any of this shit is true. I just find it fascinating. Well, keep your eye on it, man. Keep your eye on the ball. Like, just keep going with your research on those things. And how I approach it is like a detective, where you come across so much information over so much time, and then you start seeing how things corroborate and connect, and then you can get really profound insights on different things that are going on. um and that's what's happened with me is over time I've come to figure out what's really, or a lot of what's going on, not everything but quite a lot. um and I feel confident that I can say I'm like way ahead of the curve, than most people on the whole. Everything to do with UFOs. One of the biggest. Oh, fuck. Hold on a second. Do you ever get like salt in your eye and then it hurts? Bad timing. Oh shit. One of the biggest topics in both the UFO world and the spiritual zone, if you will, is the subject matter of multidimensionality. So learning what are multiple dimensions, that's going to be have to become a part of the popular cultural dialectic, and very very few people are anywhere near that topic. It opens up some serious rabbit holes about what is real. um, and just a sort of a short crash course in that is that every dimension contains the lower dimensions inside of it. So if you see paranormal things like ghosts that move doors and things of this nature, it's because the third dimension, our dimension, is part of the fourth dimension. So they can manipulate those things, whereas we can't manipulate things in the fourth dimension because we're trapped in the third dimension. So take that math, if you will, and just keep going higher and higher and higher. And how many dimensions are there? And some people who do astral projection and the like, claim that there's infinite dimensions. Others claim that there's only 12. Um, and so that the topic of consciousness is like a very, very, very central subject matter within all of this. And what is consciousness? Um, for example, UFOs are driven. I don't know how to explain this, but there's no steering wheel. They use their minds to control the UFOs. There is a kind of a consciousness interface between biological entities and the ships. Um, so um, it's now that I'm talking about it, I'm kind of regretting talking about it because it's actually pretty deep stuff. It's a little out there, and I don't. It's hard to talk about that and ink at the same time. I'm like, it's like juggling and riding a unicycle. So it's not the easiest thing. Um, Victorian time traveler in the morning, sunlight reaches the tops of buildings of mountains and goes down. That happens because the Earth is round. Okay. That what is the story in these comics? God Emperor Trump, T-Red Dad, life sucking forms. Yes, these are vampires. Victorian. I'll tell you about what's the comic about in a minute. I just want to get through the chat a little bit. Hold on. Trump versus oh, the character with the diamond mask looks a bit like Lobo, the comedian from Watchmen. Interesting point. I love The Watchmen. That's one of my favorite. I just rewatched that recently. It's one of my favorite superhero films. Um, Rorschach is my. I think you probably meant Rorschach. Maybe not the comedian, but I don't know. Maybe you did. Anyway, such a great film. Wow, super great film. I like. I mean, I don't mind fun, campy superheroes, but I do like the more realistic takes. I recommend seeing Thunderbolts if you get a chance. The Sentry is my new favorite Marvel character. He is kind of an archetype of mine, to be honest. Um, you just got to see the movie, and then you'll get it. Oh, what's this book about? Okay, so the short answer is that this book takes most of the memes and influencers in the political culture from say 2000, I don't know, maybe 2012 until today, and then like from the time of Trump coming into office to today, and then turns them into superheroes and supervillains. And so um, everybody and anybody who's savvy about political online culture, the alt right, anything and all of that stuff, they'll get a big bang out of it to see all these, and it's campy, it's funny, it's very, it's kind of like fun action adventure. There's certainly drama and romance. Um, um, it's very unique. There's nothing like it. Um, I would say there's definitely nothing like it out there. So it's a one of a kind of thing. Um, and I think because of the humor in it, it could potentially be like the new South Park or something, like something that's very popular. The We have investors, we've got financing, and the website is almost done. Um, there's CGI animations of these characters and parts of the story for marketing. We have a marketing team, which costs money. I've designed 98 characters for this universe, if you will. Um, it's going to be a big deal when it comes out. It's going to be a big deal. Um, so yeah, that's what I got to say about that. I can't really. It's so complicated that, I mean, it's like that's the basic premise of it, right? But then imagine that, but with several episodes. You could imagine that there would be a lot of different things that happen. Among all of that, what I just told you. The graphic novel is, gosh, it's going on like, I don't know, maybe 150 pages long. So there's a lot of content in there. Um, the characters with the down, read that. Grug and Soyjack. Exactly. Not sure about Grug, but I'm familiar with 4chan memes. Grug Brain smashes Big Brain with a rock. So Robert Pyle remembers. I think probably maybe if you're, I don't know, it depends on what time you came into the movement or something. Nah, Rich is American and wears glasses. Okay, I'm wrong. Splattercat came here for the art, stayed for the political discussion. Good. Robert says I'm full grug. All right, Grugum, Grug lives matter. Oh my God, it's almost. I gotta break it down, guys. I gotta work tomorrow. Let me finish the chat. T Rad Dad says, you know what popped in my head? The Loving Your People tune from Jeff Winston. Oh, God. Dude, man, you can break my heart. That's a really, really, really beautiful song. Oh, my God. Dude, you're breaking my heart, man. That's pretty serious. Circus says he had two books that I know: Disclosure, UFOs, 21st Century Mind, interviews. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'll look him up then. I'm sure I know who he is. I'm bad with names, so fucking sue me, okay? I'm sorry. There's 12 as far as I'm aware. I'm aware of the stuff saying it's funny to me. It's just basic knowledge at this point, yeah. Koro says the quality footage that sent 3-year-old footage from an F-18 fighter. Not sure I understand that. AI Jennied, when you publish the when before Christmas. This is coming out before Christmas. This is so damn funny. I will definitely pay for it. Oh, cool. What is the comic called? It's called The Alliance. T-Red Dad, play some whack tunes. Well, I'm broadcasting from or I'm filming from my phone. I'm not on my laptop, so I can't just pop on some tunes. But that would be a nice thing to do, though. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll do a show sometime and go back and do some songs. Robert Pyle, hit this like button. Okay, gang. Daddy's got to work tomorrow, so I got to break it down. And thank you so much for joining me. Amazing conversation tonight with amazing people. Really, really grateful for you guys. Definitely made a cool show. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Have a great night, all. And thanks to Splattercat for sharing my links. Please get my book on Amazon, Imperium Calling. And you guys stay cool, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. All right. God bless. God bless.